but I got them on a deal. They were basic, and I was Rouge. And I was Rouge. Hi Hodies, welcome to my channel. My name is Tom. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we're going to be doing the Bougie Guru tag. If you are new to my channel is all about loving my makeup collection as it currently is, being critical of new makeup releases, and also being very considerate when I do decide to bring makeup into my collection. However, I was watching old videos from HLP today, Hannah Louise Poston, if you don't know who that is, and like old videos, and she had done this tag, and this tag was started by Agape Love Girl. I felt inspired to answer these questions. I don't do tags too much on my video, and also this is like a really old tag, but knowing me, knowing my channel, knowing things that I like, things that catch my eye, I felt like this could be a worthwhile discussion. But before we jump into the questions of the tag, make sure you like this video. If my content sounds good to you and you're not already subscribed, why aren't you subscribed? And I'm also on Patreon if you would like to support me there. Okay, let's jump into these questions. Would you rather buy one expensive luxury item or buy several items with the same amount of money? I think, well, perhaps what we have learned during my budgeting is that, yeah, I would rather buy one expensive item than many lesser expensive items. It's a kind of a twofold thing. Because I've been watching old Hannah videos, I'm inspired to save like fewer, nicer things. But it's kind of that. But also it's kind of like, when it comes to makeup that is less expensive, so e.l.f. or whatever, I just find that even if I have an abundance of it, I'm not inclined to use it. And that was something I learned close to the start of my no-buy that I did last year. But right before my no-buy started, I had done this like small series of videos where I tried Shop Miss A products. And I used them in that video, and I never used them again, and then I decluttered them. And it's just because they're like not the kind of things that I keep reaching for. Not because they're not makeup items, they're not the type of makeup items that I continuously reach for, but they are just not the type of like, it's just not the makeup that I'm continuously reaching for. I am a sucker for packaging, and I'm a sucker for when I'm utilizing a piece of makeup that I want it to feel a certain way and look a certain way. And while I do keep my makeup stored, like I keep them in drawers, I still want when I pull that out there to be like a feeling. And typically, this is not always the case, typically luxury makeup gives me more of that experience than something that would be lesser of a product. And it's not that I don't think, there's some products that are inexpensive that I have had great experience with. Like I use the NYX glitter primer, and that's like not that expensive, and it's something that it's like very important in my collection. I couldn't see myself not having it in my collection, but it's just for the most part I do enjoy like the having one nice thing as opposed to many, maybe perhaps less nice things. When it comes to beauty products, do you believe the phrase "you get what you pay for"? Yeah and no. I certainly have tried some duds of luxury products before, or what are like more expensive products. But I am fully aware that whenever I am buying a luxury item, most of what I'm paying for is the name and hopefully packaging. Packaging is really what gets me. So like when you buy a Westman Atelier blush, they're extremely weighted. They're like just a stick blush, and I've used cheaper stick blushes. They're very light. It feels like you could throw them across the room. But the Westman Atelier one, you're getting this like beautiful weighted, sleek packaging, but also a beautiful product. I have no time for like luxury products that are not effective as far as being useful to me. Like I do want both. I want really nice packaging and really beautiful product inside. I want both. So if I get really beautiful packaging, but a dud of a product, I'm not going to force myself to use that. It's like that's not the journey that I am currently on. I need both. And I would say for the most part, when I have invested my money in more luxurious products, that I'm getting both out of that. For the most part, I have found that luxury product is often formulated the way that I like my products to be formulated. Typically, this kind of goes across the board. They're almost never the most pigmented thing. I'm talking about foundations, blushes, eyeshadows. They are almost never the most pigmented thing. I would rather build up my foundation. I would rather build up the pigment of my blush. I would rather build up the pigment of my eyeshadows. Therefore, the lighter pigment almost makes them easier to work with. I really value makeup that does the work for me, and I find that in most cases, not all cases, but in most cases, luxury makeup provides that to me. And I like now specifically thinking about eyeshadows. Almost any time I have spent more money on an eyeshadow formula, I have enjoyed it much more than even a mid-range eyeshadow palette. And not to say that I haven't tried beautiful mid-ranged eyeshadows, and not to say that, well, I really haven't tried a drugstore formula that I've enjoyed. So it's just like, it's give and take. It's give and take. Like, I would say like most of the drugstore formulas that I have tried, they are like not pigmented at all. They're not beautifully pigmented. They're just like not pigmented. And then like luxury ones, they're like lightly pigmented, really easy to blend, can build them up. You know, like there's more options with them. So yeah, I do think for the most part, you do get what you pay for. And I think you should. And I think if you aren't getting what you paid for, if you are ending if you're feeling in that relationship with that product that you aren't getting that out of it, then I would say that was not a very good product, and that's like on that brand. What is the most expensive beauty product you've purchased with your own money? I have gotten this question asked to me a couple of times, and I think what the truthful answer is the Natasha Denona 28 pan palettes, and I have both of them. They were basically half off, both of them, so I bought them, and so I didn't really pay the full price. They ended up being like about $150 each, which is a lot, but for like a powder product that I'm going to be able to use for years to come, for the foreseeable future, doesn't seem like the most erroneous thing. I've not ever spent like a ton of money, and I mean like over $100 on like something that I will use in a month, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not out here trying to like buy really expensive skincare that I'm gonna run through every month and need to rebuy. That's not a journey that I'm on. I'm not out here trying to buy, like, I like a nice primer, and I would like perhaps pay like $50 to $60 for a nice primer. But I also don't run through primer like I run through skincare. A lot of the stuff that I have bought that's like really luxury, and like the most expensive luxury stuff, is stuff that isn't gonna go bad right away. And I think that's really important for me to acknowledge that. And I think perhaps when you think about the most expensive things you bought, that hopefully it's something that you could get years out of, as opposed to just a few months or a handful of months. I don't know that that's always worth it. Where do you shop for beauty products the most? This is an interesting question to think of now. So if you are new to me, I used to work at Sephora, and I started working at Sephora because I loved shopping at Sephora so much. And then I ended up working there for a couple of years. So I was always shopping at Sephora. I had a discount, so why wouldn't I be shopping at Sephora? And I was Rouge almost the whole time I worked there. I am no longer Rouge. After my 6-month no-buy in 2021, I was demoted to VIB. And I'm still VIB. I think I haven't even hit VIB for this year, and we're halfway through July, a little over halfway through July. I think I'm probably definitely going to hit VIB because I have some skincare that I would like to re-up on during this sale in the fall. So like not even like right now. So like it's like I see that coming. That's like coming from my wig. This year, a lot of my money has gone directly to brands from their websites, because I have been buying a lot of stuff at launch directly, and I feel like I have been buying a lot more indie makeup this year. And I would even consider, like, this is right in front of me, like the Isabella palette, I would consider that while this is luxury, it's also indie, like where I couldn't buy this in a store if I wanted to, so I had to buy it directly from her website. And I've like placed some orders at Beautylish, but like that's not my primary shopping place. Another place that I have been shopping a lot is I'm a licensed esthetician in the state of Pennsylvania. I don't work on clients. I've never actually worked on clients, but I am licensed. And when you are a licensed esthetician, you can apply for a lot of pro discount programs because like aesthetics is lumped in with makeup artistry, whatever. Typically I get a lesser discount than like an actual makeup artist who is working on clients or whatever, but I do utilize those websites when I'm shopping around, especially when I'm shopping for something more expensive. There's a website that I can get a pro discount on Chantecaille. So I utilize that when I'm interested in a Chantecaille product. So that this year it's a little more all over the place. I also have been like shopping at Nordstrom in their beauty section a little bit more than I ever had. Like, well, I never even actually paid that much attention to the beauty section at Nordstrom, but now that I have like a more of affinity for the type of products that they carry at Nordstrom, I have been enjoying going to the counters there. And I've never really been a counter girl, but I have been enjoying going to the counters. And, you know, it's also interesting to hear the people who like represent a brand talk to you about their product and just like get their opinion on it too. Like, I mean, it's different. It's like different than talking or hearing someone on YouTube discuss it. Like, they're going to talk about it the way the brand wants you to talk about it. So it's really interesting to hear them talk about it. But if I had to choose between Ulta, if like the ultimate question is like, would I rather shop at Ulta or Sephora? I would rather shop at Sephora. It's just like personal. It has nothing to do with like the rewards program or anything else. It's just like, I appreciate the way that Sephora looks. It's more aesthetically pleasing to me. It's like, I don't know. It's just like is a better shopping experience for me personally. How often do you get your nails and hair done? Well, because I have a because I have a fade, I probably should get my hair cut more, but I do get my hair cut every 4 weeks. But I don't go, well, as of right now, I don't go to like I go to a barber. I would not say that his pricing is outrageous, perhaps more than some people would pay to go to a barber, but I don't think it's like that expensive. It doesn't feel like an outrageous expense. Like, I do it and it doesn't feel like a whole thing. Like, I also, if I do color my hair, I color it myself. I don't pay to have that done. But I haven't really been coloring my hair. I used to. And yeah, so I just pay that once a month. There was a time where I was getting acrylics, and I missed that. And I do miss having my nails done. That feels like more of a luxury to me than getting my hair done. Like, having my hair cut, well, there is like a self-expression, right? And it's like a specific haircut. I feel as though like nails is like not a necessity for me. And if I really wanted to have my nails painted all the time, I just would. But here's what actually has happened. I think my base coat that I have is like getting weird from being like opened and closed too many times. So I just need a new one. But I haven't bought one. So I want to try a new one, but I'm like, it's like all these things feel like really big commitments to me right now. And I'm like, so I just like haven't been painting my nails, because what's been happening is I think my base coat isn't working as well. And so my nails have been chipping way faster than they ever have before. And that really makes me angry. So yeah, I would paint my own nails, but yeah, I just get my hair cut once a month. But I think that makes sense for short. I think there are people who have longer hair that go to get their hair cut maybe quite a bit. But I do think that when you have hair that is either like shaved on the sides or just shorter in general, like there's a lot of texture in this right now, but like at the end of the 4 weeks, like this all looks completely different. Like all the texture is gone, like the way my hair grew out. So there just like is something to like having a short haircut that is more maintenance to actually go getting done, as opposed to being maintenance to try to control with like styling products and heat products, if that makes sense. Which makeup brush brand is your favorite? Okay, so I don't know that this is actually true, because I have different eye brushes to different face brushes to different whatever, but so I will just break it down into eyes. My favorite brushes that I have for my eyes are the Wayne Goss brushes. I really like them. They're really excellent. They changed the way I was able to start blending my eyeshadow. Like, I feel like those tools really improved my ability to do the makeup in the way that I wanted to do my makeup. And I'm actually a firm believer that investing in the correct tools is worth your while, even if you are someone who is who maybe doesn't spend an abundance on your makeup or on your tools, I just think it's worthwhile. Do you have to buy the most expensive one? No, but I will say, like, jumping from Morphe to even Sigma, that's a leap. From Sigma to Refer, that's a leap. From Refer to Wayne Goss, like, that's a, like, you know, you like, there is just a difference of quality when you're jumping from brand to brand. Now, I also should say that, like, I went from Morphe to Wayne Goss, so that was quite the jump. So perhaps I could have made, like, lesser of a jump and maybe still had a really good experience doing that. Like I might have been like, oh wow, Sigma brushes are just so great. Like, I could have landed in the same exact place. Face brushes, I will say Sonia G I have the Fusion set. And again, it's not like I've tried many brush brands. It's not like there's always brushes coming through for me to try. That's not really what happens here, like, not on, like, the level of channel that I'm at. I can say that investing in those tools has really made my makeup application a lot better. I just think there is value in that. Like, having a tool that you don't have to fight with, or having a tool that when you start using it, it's just doing what you ask it to, as opposed to having to work at. High-end or drugstore mascara. I'm not even a mascara snob, but if I recall the mascaras that I've used, I've always liked the higher end ones more. And what I've kind of settled on, personally, is that both YSL and Lancome make my favorite mascaras. And so I'm just going to keep buying from them. If I ever am so blessed to receive mascara and PR, I will definitely try whatever comes through and give it a solid go. But if I had to spend my money, I'm going to buy the YSL Lash Clash. Or I'm going to buy Monsieur Big. It is, and that's just kind of like, it is what it is. And if I were to hunt down my favorite drugstore mascara, I think it would cost me more money in the end to do that than to just continuously buy the high-end mascara that I like. And the reason I say that is, if I was really on the hunt, I feel like perhaps every week I would be spending $5 to $12 on a new drugstore mascara. That's going to add up a lot faster than just buying the one I like and knowing it and not needing to pry around and mess around to try to find it. So in my brain, the way that would work is that it actually is more cost effective for me to just buy the one I want and be happy with it. And that's typically what happens. It's not to say that there isn't drugstore mascaras that I could really get on with and be like, this is the one. But I just am not in the business of trying to find that. Like, I don't need to. And I don't know. I know that not everyone wants to spend $30 on a mascara, and I can understand and appreciate, and I understand that as well. So it's two sides of a coin. And I'm not trying to, like, I don't feel like I'm, like, fighting for my life here trying to explain that to you. I'm just like, that's just really what I think. Think of your favorite makeup brand. Is it drugstore, high-end, luxury, or indie? I don't have a favorite brand anymore. And there are brands that I like, and there are brands that I'm definitely more interested in than other brands. But I could not tell you that I have a favorite brand. I feel like I got myself into trouble by having a favorite brand. Like, I used to really enjoy almost all of the releases from Pat McGrath and used to be really inspired by them. But now I feel like we've hit this interesting patch with Pat McGrath where she's not releasing stuff that's interesting to me or as interesting to me. And so my parasocial relationship with the brand is kind of ruined, and I'm always kind of side-eyeing it. So, and also I don't think for me as a makeup lover that there's ever going to be a brand that's going to sell me the fantasy from start to finish, like primer, foundation, blush, contour, mascara, eyeshadow, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's no brand that's going to hit every mark for me. However, when I think of brands that I have affinity for formula-wise, luxury brands, like eyeshadows, Natasha Denona. But even within Natasha Denona, I don't like the midi palettes. I don't like the midi ones. I like the mini ones. I like the full-size ones, but I have not gotten on with any of the midi ones. The midi ones are not my favorite. I don't think I'd ever buy another midi palette from Natasha Denona. But I like a lot of the eyeshadows I've tried from Natasha Denona. When I think about complexion, like foundation, I like Surratt, but I find that, and I might like a lot of other things from Surratt, but I think that I think that Surratt's pricing is pretty strange. And like a little bit, while it is like luxury, but it's also just like, it just feels like erroneously expensive. But that could just be me. That could just be how I feel. However, I do think their foundation is worth it. I'm trying to think of even brands that like I always have my eye on. Like in indie eyeshadows that have like the beautiful textures and sparkles and gorgeousness. Yeah, I love that. So I'm gonna say, like, in general, I'm just much more attracted to a lot of the things that luxury brands do. And when I want something exciting, I'm really looking at indie brands. Occasionally, like a high-end brand will spark some interest. And almost, like, I think a lot of drugstore makeup, when they do collections, they're very cute. But not anything I want to have. I'm like, wow, isn't this like a really, really cute release from Wet n Wild? It's like Care Bears or Powerpuff Girls, like, or whatever licensing that they end up acquiring to do a collection with. Always cute, but never makes me want to spend my money on it. Considering your answers to these questions, do you think you're bougie? Yeah, I guess. Like, I don't want to like sit here and say that, like, based on my answers that I'm not, because what have I answered? Like, luxury is definitely like luxury, high end, has my heart in my soul when it comes to makeup. That is what generally I'm most interested in. So I can't lie and say that that's not it. However, with the amount of money I'm spending, my expectations are a lot higher. If I buy a luxury product and it sucks, I think that sucks more, right? Like, I think here's the deal. If I ever like decided to review a drugstore brand and I bought a lot of makeup from a drugstore brand, my viewpoint on that's going to be different. It's like, well, this is good for the money. And I'm sure I would find eventually things that I'm like, this is just really, really good. But I think it's really, really easy when I'm buying a luxury product, using a luxury product, and it's just okay, I'm gonna accept that so much less. Just being an okay luxury item is a failure. Being just an okay drugstore item is not a failure, and that's like the kind of thing that kicks around in my drawer. Like, if I buy something at a high-end price and I can return it and it was garbage, I'm not in the habit of returning things, by the way. I try to make a very big concerted effort to, when I decide to buy something, even luxury, it's going to be something that I think I will get both use out of and, like, from what I can discern from marketing, from potentially seeing other people's reviews, that is something that I would get along with, instead of perhaps, you know, just going to the drugstore and being like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if this is the best thing that I ever put on my face. It doesn't matter. And I just think there's a very big difference in my expectations for both things. So I think, not even trying to justify being bougie, like, my expectations are so much higher for the stuff that I'm buying because of the amount that I might spend on it. And that's why whenever I see new makeup releases from luxury brands that seem just like total garbage in my Critical Sass series, like, I'm like, what are you doing? That looks like hot trash. Like, I would never spend my money on that. And they're asking for a lot more money. They're asking for a lot more of me to buy into the product, to literally buy the product. And so my expectations are just gonna be way, way different. I think that's it. Yeah, so I'm bougie. If you enjoyed today's video and you are new to my channel and you haven't hit the subscribe button, do it now. It'd be really cute. Make sure you like this video. And I'm also on Patreon if you'd like to support me there. It was fun doing a tag video today. So back to more regularly scheduled programming for next week. Remember to follow your hote and you will find me. Just thinking about that saying as I'm like potentially trying to argue against being bougie. Okay, anyway, bye. Bye.